Good morning.
Good morning.
We are here talking about the Oscar nominations, which were just announced on Good Morning America, as well as a lot of other places.
I watched it on Oscars.com myself,
Oh,
or
okay, very nice.
Oscar.com.
I will say, so we're going to go through each category, call out the Disney nominations, and then give our take if we care to. And we'll go from there. So I'm going to start with visual effects. We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Black Panther, and Top Gun: Maverick. Now, obviously, Avatar: The Way of Water and Black Panther are Disney films. The visual effects for, I should say, ILM did visual effects for The Batman, so it's sort of like a half nod, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Disney owned by association.
What's interesting to me on this one is, like, obviously when Avatar came out, like, that was going to win visual effects because they created him. I'm curious to see this go around. I mean, I think out of all of them, I mean, it has the most visual effects out of all these films. I mean, the whole movie is a visual effect.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see if it pulls it out, or if people are kind of like, yeah, we've been there, done that. But we'll see. You got any thoughts?
Well, I like the way you say "been there, done that" because that's kind of how it is, and I feel like all of these. I haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front, so I can't say for sure, but nothing about any of these was pioneering to me. So
yeah, I want to talk about that when we get to adapted screenplay.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm going to move on just so I don't get lost track. Sound. We have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Elvis, and Top Gun: Maverick. I feel like Top Gun Maverick. Like,
I was gonna say, Top Gun's the immediate
first spot. It was just so well done on that, and it's nice to see. One thing that I think this year, there's some movies I've never heard of, but there's plenty of movies like people actually went to see.
Yes.
Avatar, Top Gun, Elvis. Like, it's not, and they're not just in the esoteric, the craft categories like special effects. They're actually in like real categories. So it's nice to see that.
Like I was honestly surprised at how frequently those four appeared: Black Panther, Avatar, Elvis, and Top Gun. But
so we got animated short film, no Disney. We have The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse,
which I've only heard good about, and I still need to watch it. But Apple TV Plus is the one I don't have. Yep.
Ice Merchants, My Year of Dicks, and An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake, and I Think I Believe It. I've seen none of these. I'm not proud of that. I just I don't know where, I haven't. I just haven't seen them. So, but I think we'll have more to say when we get to animated feature. Documentary short film, no Disney. Flag Makers was on the short list, didn't make it. There was Elephant Whispers, Haul Out, How Do You Measure a Year, Stranger at the Gate. Live action short film, which is a category that, I mean, obviously Disney used to do pretty well in that back in the sort of days when, people made short films. But Irish Goodbye, Ivalu, Night Ride, and The Red Suitcase. But Disney's nominee, Le Pupille, is available on Disney Plus. I think it wasn't a Disney Plus day, I don't believe, but it's on Disney Plus now. You can check it out. It's really good. So kind of rooting for that one just because I've seen none of the other ones.
I've seen it. I thought The Red Suitcase was a Pixar short for a second.
It does sound like one, right? It's kind of like you want to see it, like, you go, no, that's totally different than what I expected. It's going to be like, any case, moving on to makeup and hairstyling, we got All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Elvis, and The Whale. It's good to see Black Panther there.
Yep.
And, especially you had so many different sort of, what was interesting about Wakanda Forever is you had the sort of Wakanda scene, but you also had, the I'm going to script their names, so I'm not going to say it, but the Namor and his underwater creatures, in Civilization, which is based on South American cultures. So you had a lot of sort of diversity in styles, just because you come from you're inspired by two different cultures in addition to, Marvel. So it was neat to see that. Costume design, Babylon, which was like one of those movies that you heard was going to be like before they made, it came out, and then people saw it and they didn't want to see it. So
yeah,
that one did not perform. But Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Ruth Carter won when the original Black Panther came in, and I think the work she's done is spectacular on that. Elvis, obviously they can pull from, some very excellent costumes. Everything Everywhere All at Once, which it's kind of like of all these craft categories, when Everything Everywhere All at Once goes up, I was like, yeah, when you're dealing with like a crazy multiverse, like it's, I don't say easy, but like there's a lot to play with there, right?
Yep.
Like when you have hamburger fingers. And then a movie I haven't heard of, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. That's very boring. It's like, should you go on an ABD or what's going on?
I feel like there's a lot of them that like the one-offs that kind of pop up here and there. I'm like, I've never even heard of that, but there's a reason.
Mac is correcting me. Atalo Khan, that's right. And
Kyle I had the same thought with How You Measure a Year, right there.
In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee. That I only know that courtesy to a vocal group that performed outside of Bakersfield Bakery at Company Adventure 20 years ago.
At the height of Rent's popularity.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Production design, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Babylon again, Elvis and the Fabelmans. I've seen all of these except Babylon, so I would say it's just so different. Like, how do you compare the Fabelmans to Pandora or a war movie?
Yep.
But I guess they have to, because that's what they do.
And then you've got period pieces like Elvis, which are always kind of a shoe-in. So.
Right. Original song, Applause, Hold My Hand, Lift Me Up from Wakanda Forever, Natu, and This Is a Life. I would say the sort of snub here from a Disney perspective is the song from Avatar: The Way of Water by The Weeknd.
I said the biggest snub was the lack of Four Town. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say this. I think the first one in recent memory I could think of that had zero animation in it. So.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird. It's like these things where it used to be like, and because they were musicals, animation kind of had a leg up, but it's, now you're getting these big, you had Diane Moore and Lady Gaga. There's Rihanna. There's a lot of like star power in this category. So.
But yeah, Four Town snubbed. Sorry, I'll say it.
Lucky. Original score, All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, the Searchlights, Disney's The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans being John Williams, not Disney, but, a legend in his own right. Film editing, The Banshees of Inisherin, Disney, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. Once again, it feels like those films where you have a little bit more style, like Elvis or Everything Everywhere All at Once or Top Gun, might have a leg up.
Yeah, that's with all the action and stuff. I would also kind of argue Everything Everywhere, but anything where there's a lot of actions, that's where your editing is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I did see it on a plane, and like I was too lazy to put it on my own screen, so it was like the screen for the guy in front of me, but it looked good.
One of these.
Yeah, like it's not, and it's weird because it's not like it was on his computer; it was on the screen. I was just too lazy to like log in and just like hit the button. But anyways, original screenplay: Banshees of Inisherin, Disney; Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans; Tar; Triangle of Sadness. So, those are all original screenplays. Adapted screenplay: All Quiet on the Western Front, obviously, based off the classic book. Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, Top Gun Maverick, Living, and Women Talking. So apparently adapted screenplay is also code word for sequel.
Yes.
Like because I mean, I guess technically Top Gun is like adapted from like an article in some article, that Jerry Bruckheimer or somebody saw. But yeah, I guess it's weird. Like, I don't think of Glass Onion as being adapted from anything except
yeah, it's just a sequel to Knives Out.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought you were going to say, wait, Women Talking being a sequel, and I didn't know that was a sequel, but I don't think it is.
There's a joke in there. I'm not going to say. International feature film, All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina, 1985. Close, Captain EO, and The Quiet One.
That's what I thought too. I was like, EO.
I didn't know it was international. I was like,
they are here to change the world. So
I feel like this is the biggest lock. Like, can you imagine if All Quiet on the Western Front doesn't win this category despite being nominated for Best Picture?
You can always tell what's going to win it because it's nominated in other categories and the other four aren't.
Like I feel bad for all these other like. There's not even a chance. Like, there's nothing you can do to win this one. But alas, documentary feature film, All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, Fire of Love, A House Made of Splinters, and Navani. Fire of Love on Disney Plus, distributed by National Geographic. So that counts. Animated feature film. This is where we're gonna get it. This is where we're finally in our wheelhouse here. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, not to be confused with the Razzie.
Not the Zemeckis one. Yeah.
Zemeckis Pinocchio. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which my speech impediment is appreciate that. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The Sea Beast by Chris Williams.
Yep.
From Disney, Disney alumni, and Turning Red. So we got one Disney nomination in that category.
Which I've been preaching. Everybody, get ready. It's gonna happen.
Who do you think is gonna win here? How many of these have you seen?
So I have not seen. I've only seen Turning Red, to be honest. I've seen chunks of Guillermo's Pinocchio, and I've seen the trailer for Marcel the Shell, and Puss in Boots is high on my list. I'm doing that thing that I shouldn't be doing and just waiting for it to be able to be bought on Peacock or whatever. But the Sea Beast is actually being downloaded in a few hours, so I can watch it on a plane myself. So,
going anywhere fun?
Hopefully, I'll be in LA soon. Or Southern California.
With you, it's always hopefully, because you're Mr. Travel King. So I've heard good things. I think this is a race between Marcel the Shell with Shoes On for the ones that for the animation people who really want to just do something like crazy, or Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Yeah. I feel like any other year Turning Red would be the shoe-in, but this year's everything's been strong. Like, I can't even the short list itself was like 15 or 20 titles. So.
Right. Well, and it's interesting. It's been such a strong year for animation. If you don't work for the Walt Disney Company. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to Turning Red, which is on this list, but it's not Encanto, right? It never really cracked that level.
Yes, I'll agree to that.
I mean, at least in this, it's hard for me to tell what's
in the general populace. Yes, it never broke that. But if you really want to get into a Disney connection, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is from Jenny Slate, who was Captain America's ex-girlfriend in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that scene.
Yep.
And Jenny Slate obviously does a lot of animation.
Yes, she does.
Obviously, but including Zootopia.
Yep. But no, this isn't just Jenny Slate's in it. This is Jenny Slate's story and everything. So
yeah, but her ex-husband, weirdly enough, right? Like, there's
I think so. Yeah.
Kyle trying to mess me up. Okay, actress in a supporting role: Angela Bassett, Hong Chow, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Stephanie Hsu. Carrie Condon for Banshees of Inisherin. Angela Bassett, perhaps the closest thing you're gonna get to a lock. Well, I should say that. There's another one that's pretty much a lock for Wakanda Forever.
What's the other one that's pretty much a lock? Or is that a different category? Okay.
Which is next? We have Brendan Gleeson Brian Tyree Henry, Taxi's Judd Hirsch, Barry Keegan, and Kai Wee Kwan. Oh, it's been 40 years. I still can't pronounce it. And that's my fault, not his. But someday, I can barely pronounce Benji. So Brendan Gleeson, Banshees of Inisherin, Disney, Barry Keegan from Banshees of
Also
Inisherin,
Banshees, yeah.
And Short Round, which he'll be in Disney Plus's from Disney Brand Television, American Born Chinese. It's a pretty significant role in that. And I was thinking about this the other day. Like now that he's back, which is, I mean, we all love, right? Like, I mean, that viral picture of him like hugging Harrison Ford is like, you know, maybe people don't suck anymore, right? Like maybe there's actually good in this universe. Like I would love him to like hop back. Like we all don't know what's going to happen with the Indiana Jones franchise.
Yeah,
but I feel like he should be a part of it. Like, anyway.
Well, it's not out yet, so we don't know that he's not.
Suddenly he comes up. He's like, Indy, you're part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet. Directing Martin McDonough for Banshees of Inisherin, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Todd Field, and it would have been helpful if this list had movies on it, and Ruben Ostlund. Steven, how's he pronounce it? Steven Spielberg?
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got to break in somewhere, right?
So that's your best directing. I'm pulling for the even though it's not Disney, Martin McDonough is. I'm pulling for the Daniels. Like,
okay.
I just feel like when you go burst on the scene with something just completely different.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, Steven Spielberg is like, you know, I love it when old people win because I feel like there's this movement like, you're like, oh, you need new fresh blood. And I was like, what's wrong with old blood? Like, you know, as long as it's good. But I don't know.
Contrary to popular belief, too, Steven Spielberg only has like a few Academy Awards comparatively to everything he's done. So
it's hard for me to conceive that Schindler's List and Jurassic Park were released in the same year.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. But
yeah.
That goes back to that whole popcorn movie thing.
Oh, don't. Okay. Actress in a leading role.
I would never call Jurassic Park a popcorn movie, by the way.
Cate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for
Blonde,
which I think was also like a top Razzie nomination, not recipient.
That's interesting.
And sorry,
I just know.
I do want to. Todd Field directed Tar. Ruben Ostlund directed Triangle of Sadness. And the I'm sorry. Cate Blanchett in Tar, Ana de Armas in Blonde, Andrea Riseborough in a movie called To Leslie, released by Momentum Pictures, and she actually self-funded her Oscar campaign, her For Your Consideration campaign. Probably the biggest shock, I think. Like I've never heard of To Leslie. That doesn't mean much, but anyway, Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans and Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think this is Michelle Yeoh's award to lose. No Disney nominations in this category. Bummer, but such is life. Actor in a leading role, we have Austin Butler in Elvis, Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin, once again Disney, Brendan Fraser in The Whale. I just love saying like Oscar-nominated George of the Jungle. Paul Mescal in Aftersun.
Encino Man.
You may know him from his Hulu work, and Bill Nighy, as Tony likes to call him, Bill Nighy for his work in Pirates of the Caribbean, is nominated for
He was this guy. That's what I said.
This guy. Okay, and then finally, Best Picture: All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. So the Disney ones are Avatar, Way of Water, and Banshees of Inisherin. And, you know,
Can I say something controversial?
Yeah.
Can we go back to
And
five?
apparently you do all the time.
Okay. Can we just go back to 5 nominees in this category? Because you look at this list and well, that one's not gonna. So let's go back to 5.
I mean, I think the idea is they wanted like nominees here of movies that people had seen.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think that's one thing I was happy to see was like, I don't know what would not be on this list if it was 5, but I feel like Top Gun would probably be on the list. The Fablemans, which no one saw, but not because it wasn't a big movie. But yeah, I'm not necessarily against it. It makes the AMC theaters Best Picture showcase a lot easier to deal with.
It's a full weekend instead of a Friday.
Yeah. Are you surprised Netflix? They did their thing with Glass Onion. Kind of gave it its qualifying run. It got nominated for screenplay, adapted screenplay. But nothing really else. And
The Sea Beast, but
yeah. And I mean, they released All Quiet on the Western Front, which is perhaps their biggest thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that movie does. If that sort of starts to win categories, then you'll wonder. But I really feel like it's Everything Everywhere All at Once just seems to be sneaking in there.
Yeah. What was it? The Golden Globes or the Emmys? Not the Emmys. That's TV. But whatever one. There's a recent award, and everybody was just Everything Everywhere All at Once started showing up everywhere all at once.
So, yeah, it feels like there's a joke in there about how like Everything Everywhere All at Once is nominated for everything.
Yep.
Everywhere. I just want to say hi to Steven from Wyoming. Hope you're having a good day. So that's the Oscar nominations. What are your favorite films of last year? Disney or not?
Turning Red's definitely up there. Dominion was a letdown, the biggest letdown.
Oh.
So, I'm trying to think of what I saw. There's so many I've saw, but yeah, Turning Red's the one I keep going back to. So that's also just me. I've been told by some of my best friends I need to start watching more adult content, and not in that way.
Which offends me. I watch a lot of Disney because what we do here.
Yep.
And I don't know that that's bad. It's nice to just have fun. Like I mean, it's not. It's an Emmy. It won the Emmy for TV movie Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Yep.
Like that was just fun. Like it's okay to have fun. Yep. And there are some good fun movies on these are all not like dirges of films, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously the war movie is war movie, but Banshees and Inisherin, despite its sort of heavy subject matter, is a comedy essentially.
Yeah.
Elvis is Elvis.
That's one on my list I need to watch too.
Is a sort of massive, like multiversal story.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Fablemans. Tar, I guess, is probably the a more classic Oscar film. Top Gun Maverick, and then Triangle of Sadness. And
I think Babylon tried to be that Oscar film also, and sorry, Babylon.
Yeah, I feel bad, and I don't feel bad for. I don't feel bad for Babylon, but that's a movie where they thought they were going to be this stuff, and they just weren't.
Yep.
But in any case, well, that's our Oscar nominations. We will be watching the show on ABC, and
hosted by Jimmy Kimmel.
Hosted by your Disney's own Jimmy Kimmel, across the street from the El Capitan Theater. It will be.
If he brings Warren Beatty back, though, heads up.
Wow, is it bad that that has completely escaped my memory?
No.
But the Oscars will be on ABC March 12th, and we will be here after the fact, probably discussing hopefully some Disney wins something. That's not a guarantee.
Yeah. Well, I know the Annies were released, and it was funny because it's similar to what's going on with the Oscars, the Annies being the animation awards for those who aren't aware. And I was just like, there's a surprising lack of Disney, especially in that genre. And then this one just it's almost the same as much as Disney owns, based on Best Picture alone. That's only 20%. So,
well, anyway, thanks so much, Tony. Doobie and Kyle will be on at 9 o'clock doing their going through all the news of the morning. Oh, you know what? I missed one. I'm sorry. Cinematography.
Oh,
There's a movie that from Searchlight, Empire of Light, that got nominated. Doesn't have a great Rotten Tomato score. Never really kind of broke through. But cinematography. It's one of those movies that's about movies. So it kind of has that going for it.
yep.
The Academy loves movies about themselves.
They opened a whole new museum about themselves, didn't they?
They did. Okay. Well, thanks so much, Tony. Don't forget 9 o'clock. We'll have a morning news update with Doobie and Kyle, and then at 4 p.m. Bare Necessities at 7:30 Disney Trivia Live. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and have a great day.